Brutal life. It's brutal. Not really for me. I'm in a pretty good spot. But the people around me, they got a lot of difficulties. Like this little guy down here. He's got a lot of difficult things on his mind. Well, not really. There's nothing going on up there because he's a little dog. But yeah, life is hard, and I am gonna have to clearly pick up the pieces for those around me so that things can not fall into absolute disarray. Not that they would, just like we don't want to lose our white paradise, right? With all my super privilege. So I'm gonna have to step up my game here and get serious. So what am I gonna do? Well, I've come to this new idea. Originally, my big plan was I'm gonna do Fallout New Covenant later on down the line when I have like money or whatever, and then we'll do the series because it's like my big series. It's like the one that I really want to get right because I have so much of connection and fondness to it. But we're scrapping that whole plan. We're saying frick that. Instead, what I'm probably gonna do is I'm gonna do these two God of War stories, which are both around like 140,000 words each, probably. Dreams of Perfection is probably gonna be a lot more. And then we'll do some other stuff. I have some other ideas I've been cooking around with. I want to play around with, just to get my writing acumen better. And then once I have a decent level of experience, then we're just gonna do Fallout Season 1. I'll do Season 1 of New Covenant, and I'll probably publish each story in audiobook format. And just upload that just so I can get a little bit of traction and also develop my writing skill. And then I'm thinking right around when I get to around like I've written around 700,000 to a million words, I think that'll be the time for me to, lock in and really publish my own book. Now I was doing some math there because I think a million is a little bit high strung of a number because if we're only doing around 800 or so a day, or let's just say we did 1,000 a day, and we had to do just 700,000. It's gonna take 700 days straight. That's kind of crazy. So let's just do the math here. So let's say we do 1 million words. Okay, 1 million is this big of a number, and let's say we were to write 1,000 words every single day. That's gonna take 1,000 days in total, which is about 3 years. That's a lot of time. Shit. But don't worry, I can do it. But yeah, because I'm just thinking in myself right now, like, hey, my job's good, but it's not exactly uber good, and we're about to be going into a recession and a global war here in the future. In America, fun little fact, I was doing some research into the prophets, and all of them are basically saying the same thing, which is that America's just going to get... Now, maybe not. Prophecy is kind of conditional. They don't always have to come true. But I think it just makes sense. America is basically modern-day Babylon. And so, as such, we will fall and collapse. I mean, like, our number one export to the entire world is just sin and vice. So, of course, we're just going to get ravaged by some ecological disaster or something or other that's just going to completely destabilize us and knock us out of the overall global board. Because, that's just what we had it coming. We've been a pawn of the global elite forever now. So go figure, we're just going to get knocked out. And then after that, things are actually going to be pretty good for us. I think we're going to become a more pious nation. That's what they say, the prophets. But regardless of all that happens, I still need to lock in. I really got to start putting my foot forward here and say that, hey, life ain't a bed of roses. You gotta get up there and start going to work. I guess it's this kind of lesson in life. Is that you just got to be constantly just pushing forward and thinking about things in realistic terms and not in idealistic terms. But yeah, that's my plan. I'm just going to write a couple books, get good at writing, and then we'll start self-publishing. The books I'll probably self-publish will be, Wicked and the Dark Dragon. I think Wicked and the Dark Dragon is a book I would read. That's why I even that book series came to me in a dream. All right, I was just sleeping, and then I went, and in the dream, I went to a bookstore, which is already odd. I don't go to stores in general, but I was in this bookstore, and there's like a rack of 8 books on display, and then I picked up the last one, and it just had this awesome cover, which my brain basically picked the image of Hulk jumping at Surtur in God of War, not God of War, but Thor Ragnarok, that image of him going ooh onto Surtur, and just put that on the cover, and there was like something in the Dark Dragon book 8 or something, Satan, and I was like, damn, that sounds cool. I looked it up online. It doesn't exist, so I'm like, well, shit, looks like I'm gonna have to do it myself. I feel like I've said this before, but that's my point. Is I think that's just a cool series I'll write. And then I'll also do Chambers of the West. I think that'll be a really fun book series. I got Cliff Langram. I think that's fun. Requiem of the Irreducible Mind. That's a fun one. What else do I got here? I got a lot of ideas. Let me think here. What else do I got? I would love to do. I'll probably have to do a remake of Revelations. Revelations I made when I didn't have good theological understandings of stuff. So I'll probably have to go back and remake the entire thing to a different tone. But yeah, I think I'll just do a couple of those, couple a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and then I'll go back once I got money and I'll do New Covenant all over again with a real cast and decent framing. And yeah, when that's all said and done, that'll be my life. You just got a full grand scope of Dan's ideal life. Now I say ideal because hey, human nature here. You're not gonna stick to what's righteous and what's right. You're gonna go deter off the path and make wrong moves. But yeah, I think that's gonna be the overall plan there. Or I could just be killed tomorrow in like some accident. And you know what? I'd have that coming. Really, I would. I don't think every day in life is a blessing, and it's a gift I don't deserve. Really. So if that's to be taken away from me, so be it. Had it coming. But I hope that's not the case. I hope I have enough time to try and make the correct moves that life needs from me. But we'll see. Who's to say? Well, I'm to say. I could just simply say, let's do the right thing and just get our life on track. But I'm pussyfooting around that issue. Even me talking about it, I'm not gonna tell you exactly what it is I have to do because that might lead me to actually doing it. But anyway, that's all I got to say. The end.